let's talk about my top 10 running backs. My rankings can be found over at FTNFantasy.com. Jeff Ratcliffe's rankings are over there. He was the number one ranker in the game last year, according to Fantasy Pros, their accuracy contest. He's an absolute GOAT. Maybe we can compare mine and his when we get deeper on another day, but I'll present mine. I'll kind of give you a little bit of a tier feel as well, because it is all about tiers, but people do love rankings. But I think you should just go to your draft with like tiers and guys where you think that they're in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 4, where they kind of fit in, as opposed to, you got him at RB 21, you got him at RB 25. Is it in the same sort of tier? I think that's very key. We have all that stuff available over at FTNFantasy.com. Jeff Ratcliffe's package. We have the Fantasy Football Platinum package. We have so much content. It's crazy over at FTNFantasy.com. The package includes everything: rankings, cheat sheets from Jeff, rankings for all sites, half point, standard, full point, tight end premium, super flex, best ball content. Vlad Sedler's got a bunch of best ball content just released over the past couple of days. Of course, we have a lot of content on our FTN Network YouTube page as well. Meaney saves you 20%, and you can head to ftnfantasy.com/pricing, get the platinum package, all the tools, 40 plus tools, Discord channel, start and sit, help you out throughout the entire season, waiver wire stuff, projections. It's all there for you, included in the FTN package. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Let's share the top 10 running backs here. Up at number 1 for me is Jonathan Taylor. I just think he's super safe, right? He's a little bit younger. People are talking about McCaffrey, the injury-wise, but Jonathan Taylor he was a beast inside the red zone. Nobody had more carries inside the 5. It's a run-first offense. It's a better quarterback, so it's probably a better offense. Maybe he isn't as efficient between the tackles. Like, that's possible. I think maybe the touchdowns come down. We'll say that. Maybe he doesn't score 18 on the ground, 20 plus. Maybe he just scores 15. But ultimately, 21.9 fantasy points per game was number 2 among running backs. We'll get to number 1 in just a little bit. That's from a full point standpoint. This is my half point running back. So Taylor at number 1, I think he's safe. You want to go Christian McCaffrey at number 1? I have no problem with that either. You're going to want Deontay Foreman. You're just going to want that because CMC has suffered injuries in each of the past 2 seasons, and potentially they scale back from him just a little bit to keep him fresh. He averaged 18.2 fantasy points per game in a full point setting last year. That was number 9 overall in terms of running backs and wide receivers. So I know there's a lot of people saying he should be the clear-cut number 1. Don't worry about injuries, but I don't fully believe that. I think he is in a tier with Taylor. Ratcliffe doesn't have him in a tier with Taylor. He has Taylor in a tier in his own. I think he belongs in a tier with Taylor. And I'd put Henry in there as well. That would be my first tier. Derrick Henry last season finished 10th in carries, 219 carries, despite only playing 8 games. 8 games. He had 219 carries. He averaged a career high 27.3 carries, 29 touches, 2.2 catches, and 2.5 targets. He was on pace for, get this, 465 carries, 465 carries, people, 503 touches, 38 grabs. 500 touches is crazy talk. I don't think he's going to have 500 touches. It was a freak injury. He landed on a kind of a lineman and broke his foot. I think it was a freak injury. I don't know if he's going to get 500 touches. In fact, I don't think he will, but he has seen an increase in targets and catches in each of the past couple of seasons. He averaged 24.2 fantasy points per game in a PPR setting. That's only behind Cooper Kupp and 3 points more than Jonathan Taylor. 38 catches, that's what he's on pace for. That's tremendous. That's significant. If he's going to flirt with 40 catches, even in a half point setting, he finished higher than CMC and other players per game, from a per game standpoint. I'm in. Like, I know that you want to be out before you're in with the injuries and so much tread on the tire over the past couple seasons, but it's a run first offense. We're wondering who the guy is between Woods and Treylon Burks. I think that we're going to see Henry more involved in the offense. And if you're going to get, I don't think a lot of people have him projected for 30 plus catches because it's not really what we've seen. But last year we did see a couple more screen passes, and why not? Why not give the ball to this dude in space and just let him buck? Good luck tackling him. So he's falling down draft boards. You don't even have to take him pick 3. I've seen him go in the second round. I think if you're at the end of the first, even if you're not sold on Henry in the end of the first, I think he makes for a pretty fine target towards the end of the first round. I really do. If he's going to fall, the touches are going to be there. He's going to get about 30 per game. He's an absolute freak. And if we're going to give him more catches, I think we'll see a bit of a higher ceiling from him as well. I don't think that's People are not really looking into that he was on pace for nearly 40 catches last season, and no AJ Brown to dominate the target. So we could see a couple more out of him. Let's bring up that board one more time, Tyler, here. We'll get into the next tier. Austin Eckler, I'm fine with. He was great last season, 21.5 fantasy points per game. He's been on record talking about he wants the Chargers. He's wanted the Chargers, to draft another running back to kind of like scale back from him, keep him fresh. They've tried this over the past couple of years with Roundtree and Joshua Kelly. Now I think they have a true guy in Isaiah Spiller who could maybe steal a couple touches, but I think Eckler is fine. A lot of talk about Naji Harris, right? This guy had more touches than anybody in the NFL last season. He was just fine, even though it was a poor offensive line. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. There's some rumbles out of Pittsburgh. Canada offensive coordinator for the Steelers said that Mason Rudolph could have won the quarterback position. That's all you need to know about how weak the quarterback position is in Pittsburgh. Could be Pickett, could be Trubisky. I don't believe it's going to be Rudolph. It's a bad offensive line, but he's still going to catch over 50 passes. He's probably going to lead the NFL in touches, be at least inside the top 3 in touches, Naji Harris, and he's falling. I think he's a fine end of the first round pick. Dalvin Cook in a new offense could open up some things with Kevin O'Connell there. It could be a lot like the Rams, run some 3 wide receiver sets. It could benefit Dalvin Cook, and he has dominated touches as long as he's healthy, but he hasn't had a full season in the NFL yet. I do believe if you have Cook, you probably want to have Alexander Mattison. It's just really tough to spend a top 40 pick at the running back position on a backup. I like Swift, right? We talked about he was a top 5 running back in full point settings before the injury happened. Offensive line is one of the better offensive lines in football. Jamal Williams, you can handcuff him with your last pick. Jamal Williams is not really getting drafted if anything does happen to Swift again, because he's went through a couple injuries in his first couple seasons in the NFL. So Jamal could be like your handcuff that's really cheaper than, the other running backs we talked about, Alexander Mattison, for example, right? Not super, super cheap, but DeAndre Swift, he's going to catch 50 plus balls in the backfield. There's a lot of different moving pieces there. Jameson Williams, DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, TJ Hawkinson. I do like Swift though. I think I don't know if he's a guy that's really going to get ever 300 carries. But he is a guy that should dominate touches, first and second down reps. Jamal will be sprinkled in a little bit, but he should kind of live in that 13 to 17 range for carries and 3 to 5 catches. So he's a PPR monster. I think he certainly could be a league winner there. 2 guys that I kind of glossed over. We talked a lot about Leonard Fournette, but if you have the Fournette board, we can bring that up. So I got him as a top 10 running back. I've kind of shuffled around a little bit since we made this board, but what I like is the bottom right, that note, finished second among backs and red zone targets last season. I like that he's the bell cow back. There was some stuff about him overweight. He's already dropped a lot of that weight. He was never a guy that's just super in shape anyways from his LSU days. But I love the stuff on the left with the targets, 84, the catches, the receiving yards, all inside the top 4 in targets and catches and receiving yards, actually tied with Swift in targets per game and right there with McCaffrey in terms of catches per game. But he was an absolute player through the air. Ronald Jones is gone. Rashard White, if you want to, handcuff him, that's fine. I get it. White is going to be a beast in the future. But I still think Fournette, the veteran back in this offense, Brady trusts him. Pass protection, key, pedal to the metal, Tampa. No one threw the ball more in terms of split tools or pace of play. 66% of the time, Tampa Bay threw the ball. It was number 1 in football. Brady's going to drop back. Even when they blew at teams, he just dropped back and he chucked. I know there's also a lot of moving pieces there, but they had most of those pieces last year. They bring in Julio. They bring in Russell Gage. No Gronk. Still Fournette. I do believe he's going to be top 5 again in terms of receptions. And then the other guy on this list as we go to just the top 10. We'll round out with Ronald Jones, actually. If you want to bring up the top 10 board just one more time here, Tyler, and just see for Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones last year, I just think he's going to be a massive player through the air in the passing game. And he was last year and even the year before that. 52 grabs last season. He's had at least 47 grabs in each of his past 3 seasons. He has a nose for the end zone. Only 10 total touchdowns last year, 4 on the ground, but 11 in 2020 and 19 in 2019. Now, he could lose some goal line opportunities to A.J. Dillon. That's very possible, but I just think it's going to be a solid 1-2 punch between these guys. Everybody's looking to see who the next Devontae Adams is going to be on this squad. I like Allen Lazard. I'm willing to take some shots on other pieces in this offense, but give me Aaron Jones in this range as pass catching back. backs. Mixon's not really going to be a pass catching back. You're going to see Samaje Perine, Chris Evans on third downs, but he's a solid running back, a good offense. But Swift, Fournette, and Jones, these guys are going to catch 50 plus passes, and you can get them in the second round at the end of the second. If you start early in the first, I think they make for really strong RB1s if you wanted to start your draft with a solid wide receiver.